Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another Warcraft replay here. And let me start this off by saying, yes, I am on classic graphics. I am trying to see something out here. So if you didn't know, the Gold League has just finished. Probably the biggest tournament for Warcraft these days. And yeah, it's been covered by Back to Warcraft, but they casted on the Reforged graphics, not because they chose to, but because the tournament's run by China, and they prefer the Reforged graphics. So a lot of people weren't happy about that. Honestly, if you direct that anger to Back to Warcraft, it's very misplaced. But I'm gonna try to cast some replays on the classics, maybe. Maybe I'll just find that it's not really worth doing. I'll just go back to Reforged because I pretty much did make that change a while ago. But for those of you who refuse to watch Back to Warcraft just because they're playing on Reforged graphics, I guess here it is. I mean, I'm gonna go back to Reforged graphics soon anyway, so I don't know, maybe I'll just do it next game. We shall see, but for now, that's that. I'm just gonna be casting a couple of replays. There is a lot to do, so I'll just cast these two games from the Group D qualifiers. Yeah, because it's round robin, it's not necessarily a best of 3 between Foggy, the red Night Elf player in the top right, and 120, the blue undead in the top left. Looks to be pretty standard starts here with the Keeper of the Grove and Death Knight start for both sides. Ancient of War creeping at the Ogre Warrior camp here. Chooses not to go for the Merc camp start. I guess the Keeper wants to go for some early harassment, which it seems like he is going to do. Oh, it's been a while since I've had classic graphics. Death Knight, it seems like he was able to get a Wisp. He did take Death Coil first, so I imagine that's how he was able to get it. Ghoul opening here for him, as we are still pumping out those ghouls. He is going to go for a possible expansion? It's either an expansion or just taking out the gold mine extremely early. Keeper is going to come out. He has taken out an Acolyte for himself, and he is going to go straight after those ghouls. Entangle is going to try to keep those guys in place there, and the ghoul does go down, giving level 2 over to the Keeper. Death Knight also pretty close to level 2 as well. He should be able to get it with this Trapper. There we go. Level 2 has been attained, and Unholy Aura should be the next ability. Keeper did take out a Skeleton, but of course, summon units, and it's a pretty low level one at that. Gives very little experience over to the Keeper. Is going to take out an Acolyte though, and that might stop or delay the expansion a little bit more. Yeah, we are going to start tier 2 instead. It seems like 120 probably not being able to find the opportunity, or the opening really, to place down an expansion. Going tier 2, I mean, he's not really hampered too much because of this alteration of plans. He will have, I mean, he's pretty much on track for just a normal Ghoul opening into Crypt Fiend transition. Archer is wailing at it at that Altar of Darkness. Won't be able to take it down, but she did take quite a bit of health off of that thing.
A player's forces are under attack.
Okay, Ogre Warrior is gonna get taken out here. I just realized that Death Knight does not have a TV scroll, so that I guess explains how he is able to afford so many ghouls as well as tier 2 transition. We are gonna have the double circlets being picked up from both camps. Not too spectacular, but as long as it increases his stats, I guess. Intelligence is probably what he would want it anyway, as the Keeper is going to start clearing out this gold mine as well himself. Lots of mercenaries here, or just standard number of mercenaries. Tier 2 is on its way, and the Hunter Soul is already done. I'm not sure if we have a second Ancient of War or not. Don't think so. I don't even know where the first one is. There he is. Just moving over here. Possible attempt at the marketplace. But yes, this gold mine should be cleared out. Level 3, still a little bit of ways for the Keeper, but he should be able to get it after this Murloc camp gets taken out here. Alright, I just realized I don't actually have any water to clear my throat. That's a bit annoying. Death Coil, level 2 Death Coil, able to one-shot a Wisp there. Right. I mean,
A player's forces are under attack.
there's not much to do, to be honest. Double Gloves of Haste on the Keeper. He does have a TP staff as well. No way for the Undead to actually cancel that, so it should be fine and dandy. We are going for a Gargoyle here. It's a bit weird. It could just be for scouting purposes, as we are just gonna have a Sword House being placed down, so most likely a Scouting Ghoul. Which is a bit weird because, I mean, like, 120 does have so many ghouls available that they could be used for scouting. It's not like Foggy has much to actually show for himself just yet. Tier 2 has just finished. We are going to have a Demon Hunter second, and we should be seeing, by the looks of the Hunter's Hall, we should be seeing double Ancient of Lores here. Marketplace has been started. Level 2 Force of Nature, so that should be pretty quick and easy, especially since 120 is not actually looking to this. Oh, Frost Nova onto the Wisp there. You can see it did try to go for a Detonate to try and get rid of those, get rid of that Blight, but yeah, nicely done by 120. Yeah. I was thinking maybe Death Coil would have been a little bit better, but considering the travel time versus just the instantaneous Frost Nova, I guess that was the better decision. Foggy is gonna come down here, gonna steal some mana off of that Death Knight, as the Treants are gonna try to go for the cancellations. Probably not gonna happen. But here comes a couple more Treants here, more experience over to 120, I guess, as the Death Coil is going to finish off another Treant. Oh, we might be able to finish it off, actually. 120 is going to be forced to cancel that, as he is a little bit away from supply cap. Does take down a Shadow Priest, thanks to Nova Coils, as another Berserker is going to go down as well. Death Knight should be able to finish that off, as the Demon Hunter going to try his dandiest to try and get that gold mine cancelled. Might be able to do so, but he is actually surrounded right now. Foggy doesn't actually have a way to save the Demon Hunter. I just realized it's female Demon Hunter as well. Whoopsies, I forgot to turn off all the skins before switching into Classic. Whoopsies. But here comes the Mass Dryads from Foggy. Always a fan of Mass Dryads. Yes, it's very infuriating to play against, but it's just such an oppressive playstyle. Yeah, always love to see it. Expansion is now done on the bottom right as well for Foggy, so should be pretty evened up here for both sides. Gargoyle, did it really do this much damage to the Ancient of Wonders? Honestly, if he was able to take down the Ancient of Wonders, or maybe a couple more Wisps, he should be able to just break even on the cost of basically training him up. There we go with the Blight there. Ziggurat has been completed, but here comes the Treants trying to do some work. Did bring down the Ziggurat down to about 360 HP, but I don't think it's going to amount to too much. The gold mine is actually the next target, and we might have another cancellation on its way. Archer is going to go down, but the gold mine is the main prize here. More Treants are going to be summoned, and that is yet another gold mine delayed. Is going to cost them a lot of Treants, but honestly, as long as Foggy is able to benefit off of a second base compared to 120, who still has yet to get his second base done. It might just be worth it. Demon Hunter is going to go down to 100 HP, is going to die to a Frost Nova yet again. That is her second death, but we might have a trade on the Death Knight here. No TP scrolls available, but with the Obsidian statue trying to keep him alive as long as possible, he is actually going to live with 80 hit points. That is amazing. Frost Armor also doing its work. You can see here how little those Dryads actually do per attack, so yeah, pretty impressive. Foggy places down an Ancient of War. I'm not entirely sure why. Probably just to act as a distraction, but I mean the Ancient's gonna get killed off very soon if he doesn't actually do anything about it.
A player's forces are under attack.
Like, he's not training in more units. He is finally gonna uproot. I'm probably sure he's just going to eat a tree. Oh, here comes a Gargoyle. Is gonna finish off a Dryad actually, so he is able to pay himself off there, it seems. Very nicely done. Tier 3 is on its way, but we are still pumping out more Dryads. Yeah, more Treants are being summoned to try and rush down the Altered Gold Mine, but yeah, it's getting a lot tougher to do so, especially with a second Ziggurat on its way. Spirit Tower is being upgraded. The Nerubian Tower, sure, it's not going to do too much in terms of DPS, but it does keep those units in place a little longer for a bit more pot shots. What I am a bit shocked on is the lack of Crypt Fiends from 120. He is still trying to play with his ghouls. Another gold mine does get cancelled, so yikes, not looking good for 120. I mean, the saving grace is that he will have pretty high level heroes compared to his opponent, but being down a full base for this long is not really the ideal place to be. We are finally adding some Crypt Fiends here, and Destroy Form is on its way, but I guess he just wasn't able to fund those Crypt Fiends because he's been trying to get that second base up as quickly as he can. The Necropolis is also going to go down as well. Right, it's pretty weird place to be in if you are 120. Not sure why Foggy pulled off. I mean, the Spirit Tower is done, but as long as you keep those Dryads away from that range, I'm pretty sure you could just send those Treants over to try and take down that gold mine. Although, I guess Foggy's kind of delayed his opponent long enough that he's able to get a pretty substantial lead in terms of econ. So I will see. Destroyers are in the air right now, and they are able to consume the magic out of those Treants. The Dryads are just gonna say, screw it, we are gonna try and tank that Spirit Tower damage, but it seems like it is all for naught as the Demon does go down at level 1 yet again. That is her third death. The Destroyers, even though they can't deal with those Dryads, being able to take down those Treants a lot easier is definitely a boon to have. Bit of a weird pathing there from Foggy, but he is going to pass through his opponent's main base. Frenzy upgrade is on its way as 120 might have finally been able to stabilize. His gold mine is about to be completed. Yes, a bit damaged, but it is completed regardless.
A player's forces are under attack.
We do have a rejuvenate, so we do have a couple of bears on the ground here. Now this is a bit weird to me as a spectator because I am still a bit weary with bears against undead because undead have such a good options to deal with those bears, and it's not like Dryads can actually deal with the bear's weaknesses. Destroyers, sure, can't really deal with the Dryads, but they melt those bears pretty quickly. We'll just have to see if the Dryads are going to be enough. We are going to have a TP from the Keeper of the Grove here. I think it was a TP. I don't actually know how he got there. Probably he just walked and then TP'd out, but yeah, more treant harassment. Not gonna do too much here as, yeah, like I said, the whole gold mine is already completed. Alrighty, +2 attack upgrade is on its way for the Dryads and Bears. I believe this is +1 armor upgrade for the Dryads and Bears. So, not slacking behind on the upgrades. It's just that, if 120 gets a good number of Crypt Fiends and Destroyers, I definitely do think that, the Ancient Lore comp's not gonna be too great. I guess this is why Foggy's actually going for a couple of Hippogriffs as well, so this will mitigate things a little bit. It just feels bad when Crypt Fiends, the auto web kind of has no one else to hit but those Hippogriffs, so we'll see how well it does. At this point, not really sure how Foggy could actually... I'm curious to see how Foggy will deal with this, because theoretically, yeah, if 120 is able to get a good number of units down, or basically just match supply, it should be pretty good for him. I say that as he is still about 10 supply down, and doesn't actually want to choose this fight here. He is able to pick up a couple of bears, however, so that is kind of nice. A bit late on that death coil, as yeah, might have to retreat here if you are 120. You do have a TP scroll, but you can just run away normally as well. Demon Hunter is going to try and power up a little bit, is able to take down a ghoul, but TP scroll is going to be channeled to yeah, basically just get out of there pretty quickly. Tree instead gets sent over to this gold mine. Unfortunately, none of the towers were upgraded, so we did lose an acolyte here.
A player's forces are under attack.
A-bombs being added as well, so that is just icing on the cake, to be honest. We are lacking a little bit in the terms of destroyer numbers, though, so we'll just have to wait and see. I guess 2 is a good number if you have 67 supply, but your opponent's kind of nearing 80 supply, and he actually wants to fight, it seems. Roars have been cast. A little bit of a double-edged sword, because that is just destroyer food right there. There we go, roar on the Demon Hunter. It does get absorbed, but yeah, it seems like Foggy just wants to... I guess he was looking for some rally point picks. Oh, this is a really bad movement there from Foggy. His destroyers moving out a lot more ahead of the remainder of the army, and they did get a pretty big chunk of their health bars taken out there. Treants are going to get spawned up. Bear is going to go down, but here comes the Hippogriffs going right after the destroyers. They are going to get webbed up, however, so they're not going to do too much in terms of destroying those destroyers, funnily enough. Roar is going to get cast once again. Do these destroyers have absorb magic? I mean, they're pretty full on mana, to be honest. Hippogriff is going to take down one of those destroyers, and that is super good for them. Another absorb magic coming down there, but the last destroyer is being focused by those Dryads. Unfortunately, those Dryads are getting just pelted away by those Crypt Fiends. You can see the destroyer trying to play a little bit of a vision game there, but yeah, is gonna finally go down. Unfortunately, Foggy was channeling the TP scroll, but these couple of Dryads weren't actually in range, so they did get abandoned a little bit, but at least half of them will be able to retreat home, possibly. Well, I guess I spoke a little too soon there, and Foggy is going to lose himself yet another Dryad. Ooh, nice Tome of Intelligence there for the Lich as well. That's very nice. Level 5 heroes here for the Undead, level 5 Keeper of the Grove, and level 4 Demon Hunter for Foggy. +2 armor is on its way. Yeah, a bit of a struggle here for Foggy right now, because despite being a pretty ahead in terms of supply, he was the one who ultimately ended up TPing back home. Might have made a little folly tunnel visioning on those destroyers, because he just got melted away by those Crypt Fiends instead. But yeah, you can see here from Foggy, even if he played a little bit clumsily with his destroyers at the beginning, he was able to pretty much get a good foothold later on, and yeah, just win the fight. I would say pretty convincingly as well. So we are, yeah, I mean 120 is now a bit ahead in terms of supply. Treants, nope. The Keeper of the Grove is trying to be as annoying as possible again. He is gonna entangle up Acolyte, gonna take him down, and going for another Force of Nature probably. Yeah, can't really do too much here. He is not actually gonna Force of Nature. He's gonna go back home to try and defend his expansion, which is being sieged up by 120. Entangle onto the Lich there. He desperately needs to get that Frost Armor up, but Destroyer actually just absorbs that entangle anyway. Lots of roars coming down here on Foggy's side. Not the best coverage of that absorb magic from the destroyers, I will admit, for 120. But well, I guess if he's not fighting Foggy, I guess it doesn't really matter too much. Not looking too good on the Dryad numbers, which is a bit concerning, but he does have a good number of Hippogriffs in the air. So I guess rather than being spread too thin in terms of unit coverage, he's just gonna go fixated on just numbers of specific units. So yeah, the idea is basically just the Hippogriffs go after the destroyers and the bears try and take down those Crypt Fiends. Obviously it would be the other way around for 120 as well, where the destroyers destroy the bears and the Crypt Fiends go after the Hippogriffs, but we'll see whose target selection is better. I believe a couple of Treants are trying their best to do annoying things yet again. Still no Spirit Towers at the main base, so we are going to lose a couple of Acolytes on Foggy's side, not Foggy's side, on 120 side. Here comes the Hippogriffs. They are wailing away at it against that first destroyer. Is gonna go down. Not enough whips on the Hippogriffs, unfortunately. But here comes the A-bombs here, or at least the illusioned A-bombs. Lots of mana on those destroyers that are gonna focus fire the Hippogriffs. It seems like going after Hippogriffs first will be able to ensure longevity on those destroyers. One bear is gonna go down, level 6 onto the Death Knight. Is he gonna go for his ultimate ability? Probably not, since he doesn't actually have enough mana for it. Is gonna TP home instead. We did lose quite a bit there for 120, but at the same time Foggy did lose a good number of Hippogriffs as well. Probably about 4 or 5 Hippogriffs and a couple of bears versus 120, who I mean, he did lose a lot, but he still has a good number of destroyers in the air, so not too sure. It might have just been a safety TP back home, but regardless, he does have level 3 Unholy Aura, so no Raised Dead for this game, as I guess to be expected since we don't usually see Raised Dead being utilized. Death Knight has way too much mana to use elsewhere. Keeper of the Grove, once again being annoying, just adding a little bit of pressure or venom is not going to kill the ghoul. But yeah, that is super duper annoying. Gold mine at the main base is gonna go down. I believe the same thing is gonna happen for Foggy as well, yep. So they're just on their main base, main expansions. Lich with his plus 16 attack, that's pretty decent number, honestly. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I guess in terms of heroes, I mean the Demon Hunter has proven pretty useful despite dying many times in the early game. Being able to shut down the mana of certain individual heroes it's invaluable. Probably more invaluable than an Alchemist second, I would say. Could be. But I won't deny that the Alchemist would have been a pretty good pick here as well, especially with his Acid Bomb. Right, 75 for 120, 76 for Foggy. Honestly, the longer this goes out, Foggy is going to be screwed even more because he did mine off his gold mine a lot earlier than his opponents. So technically, he will mine out earlier than 120. So he basically needs to finish this as quickly as possible. Plus, you are versing Undead, who is probably the best race to play with when you don't have any more units other than your heroes, because the undead heroes are just super synergistic and super powerful. Granted, we are not at the tri-heroes here for 120, and it's probably too late for that. So, yeah, let's see how this goes in the late game now. +3/+3 on those bears and dryads, as well as hippogriffs, versus +2/+1. So, not the most ideal position for 120 to be in, despite having pretty good econ. Yeah, even if he does get that +2/+2, he is still a bit behind compared to the +3/+3 of Foggy. Foggy has almost an entire control group of hippogriffs. Those destroyer numbers should go down pretty quickly, and we don't actually have enough Crypt Fiends to web every single one of those hippogriffs, I don't think. Yeah, I believe this is 11 hippogriffs versus like 10 or 11, maybe even 9 Crypt Fiends on the ground. Slaughterhouse is going to go down. This is a pretty crucial production building to go after first, as it does stop 120 from producing more obsidian statues. Absorb magics, I think we double up on the absorb magics, so 120 playing it a little inefficient here with his destroyers. Is going to absorb magic once again. Hippogriffs trying to keep their distance away from those Crypt Fiends, but they're just going to go straight after it against those destroyers. Frost Nova doing a bit of DPS as well. But yeah, the webs are wearing out, and the duration is a lot shorter than the cooldown of those Crypt Fiends, so yeah, they're gonna just peck at those destroyers as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, the Crypt Fiends being really distracted by those hippogriff, they are just turning their backs against those bears, and they are just clobbering them right now. Abomination not really doing its job tanking those dryads or bears. Not like it would have survived long enough anyway. He is also down to 300 HP. Probably going to go down very soon, as the Demon Hunter is going to pop an invuln. The last destroyer in the air is probably gonna go down. I'm not sure where those hippogriffs are going, as it seems like they did pull back a little bit. But yeah, we are at 20 supply difference now. Foggy is super ahead in terms of supply, and it seems like in terms of just unit control as well. Yeah, I have no idea what those Crypt Fiends were attacking, to be honest. Maybe they were too fixated on dealing with those hippogriffs, which I don't even know if they were able to finish off those hippogriffs, because clearly we still have a good number in the air right now. Yeah, this is not ideal for 120, and Foggy is a kill away from level 6, and that will be game, because Tranquility is just too powerful to fight against. We did have a Preservation on one of those units there. Did bring up a pretty big Mana Flare effect, but we don't have any Fairy Dragons in the air. As, yeah, 120 still being pushed back. Now to his expansion. We are going to have a Crypt Fiend successfully burrowing into the ground there, but yeah, Keeper's just biding his time, getting that mana for that Tranquility, and yeah, should be able to fight through all the DPS that the Undead has. Demon Hunter is pretty low there, however, 400 HP. Meanwhile, Focus Fire is going to go after those bears instead. Death Knight does have an invuln available and Mana Burn onto the Lich as well, who is pretty close to level 6 himself, but because of that constant Mana Burn, He isn't able... Well, he won't be able to use any of his spells, regardless of which ability he takes. Rejuvenates are being used here. Pretty safe distance away from the destroyer, so that should be pretty healthy units very soon. Keeper, gonna get preserved back home, probably just for that tranquility mana, as
Forces are under attack.
yeah, this last push should basically do it. We do have a shade, but a little too late. Scouting won't actually mean too much here. And yeah, even though I did talk a lot about, or even praised a lot of the Undead Army comp, just outmatching the Ancient of Lore comp, turns out if you brute force enough with just plenty of hippogriffs, those weaknesses, aka the destroyers, are not really fatal enough to worry about, I guess. And here we go. It's pretty difficult to defend for 120, to be honest, being severely undersupplied compared to his opponent. You can see the Hippogriffs going straight after the destroyers, even tanking the Frost Novas. Not like they really care. There's just way too many in the air to really deal with, and not enough whips on those Scriptfiends, as well as the last destroyer is just gonna get chased. Lich did get abandoned a little bit. He is gonna pop that invuln, but yeah, it's gonna wear out very soon, and he should be picked up. If he did get entangled, the entangle went on that Griffin instead. Here we go, Keeper. Are we gonna see the Tranquility for once? There we go. Tranquility is gonna get cast, and I imagine a GG's coming very soon, because there is absolutely no way you can basically kill a unit under Tranquility unless you, I guess, double Nova Coil on a single unit, which is a heavy investment. Yeah, level 6 on the Demon Hunter as well. Here we go with the Metamorphosis. Double ultimates here in this game 1. Definitely love to see it. Foggy just... I mean, it definitely looked a bit bad in the mid game. Yeah, very swingy game here, back and forth between these two players. The first half was basically controlled by Foggy. The middle, 120 was able to take it back a little bit. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to finish the job in time either before Foggy just amassed a swarm of those hippogriffs, and yeah, that is gonna be game 1. So 1-0 for Foggy here. Score. It's been a while since I've seen a score that high, I think. But yeah, we are gonna go into game 2. This is not a best of 3 series, it's just a double round robin, so next game will be the last, so I'll see you guys there.